welcome back to Life Leadership with Alex Urbina, right here in your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. Today we are talking about parenthood and doing a little bit of parent coaching.
Yes, parent coaching.
We have a brave mom joining us today in studio. Her name is Sharon Rodriguez.
Hi, everyone.
Thanks for being here.
Welcome, Sharon. Thank you for being here.
So you have 4 daughters.
Yes.
Right around the teenage years and then a young adult. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So before we got on air, I actually met you in the studio, in the lobby, and I gave you some homework, right?
Yes.
To do a little self-reflection. And the question I asked you was, what do you want? So what came up for you in that process?
The first thing was peaceful and cooperative children, but then that was putting it on them. And then the second one was really interesting because it was self-reliance for myself and my children to have that too. And then I realized, oh, that puts it all back on me, which was really interesting because as I look at things I've been doing, it's like, well, you need to do and you need to do. But I realized I was setting a bad example. And it's like, okay, if I become self-reliant, then that's what they will learn and know and eventually understand.
It's pretty amazing how we have all of our own answers and we have all of our own truth within ourselves. And all it takes is sometimes someone to ask you a question that you are not willing to ask yourself, right? Or maybe not conscious enough to ask yourself. But when we get those questions that are asked to us and we start to do some reflection, we start to come up with our solutions to all the problems that we're having. And so let's start with number 1. You said peaceful. Is that correct?
Yes.
Now, what do you mean by peaceful kids? Are you looking for peaceful experience?
That's an interesting question because with kids, that's not always something that you can get unless they're asleep. And so peaceful is more like calm within themselves and reassured that things are going to be okay and that if I ask for help, that I need it, that they don't suddenly start this big flare up like, a dragon breathing fire on me.
All right, but I want to work with you a little bit because you can't really change other people, including your kids. And I know you've heard this before.
Right. And that's what's funny because that's what that question you asked me, when it brought that up, it's like, oh, good, that's putting it all back on me.
Right.
Wait a second.
Yeah, because you're responsible for your own experiences.
Right.
So if you're looking for peace comes from where?
Within me. And
That's
if
right.
I'm not
Yes.
peaceful, then how can they be that? Because the space isn't there to be peaceful.
And the best thing you can do to create or manifest peace in your home or peace within them is for you to be at peace.
Yes.
So it does actually get you what you want,
Right.
but it starts with you.
Right. And it was interesting, just this last week, I had to go to Colorado, and just some major shifts happened. And all of a sudden, I went from indecision, and I made a decision, what I'm going to focus on now. And life shifted, where I was talking to my friend this morning, and I said, wait, that was only 5 days ago? It was like 2 weeks have already passed, and it was only 5 days ago. And so major things happened that allowed me to solve the problem being totally at peace. So it was very interesting because we were like an hour on the trip home and it was 10:30 at night. I just got out of the countryside into the major city and I blew a rod in my van.
Oh.
And I just put $2,500 into that van. And so all of a sudden I realized, oh my gosh, tomorrow I have to buy a car. So here I'm in Grand Junction, Colorado, and I have a day to buy a car. And the amazing thing is I think...
Okay, let me stop you for a minute. Mm-hmm. When you realized that, did you go, yes, I get to buy a car?
Part of me did, actually.
Yeah, like here we go.
Part of me did because...
Do you know you had a choice, though?
I did.
You know you have a choice to say, yes, I get a new car. Or, oh my God, I have to buy a new car now.
Or panic mode. Oh my God, what do I do?
Right, exactly. And so I realized that... because of what had happened just a few days earlier, and I knew that the direction I was on, I'd finally gotten out of indecision, that I told my girls, okay, be prepared to watch a miracle happen tomorrow. I said, what do you want the car to look like? Let's start.
You started in creation. You went into creation mode. Yeah.
And it was amazing. And the littlest one got most of her things. We've got the 3 video cameras. I think only one works. And it's a VHS, but we have tons of VHS from when they were little kids. And And we were looking at Grand Caravans because that's what we've been used to, but I said, I want a luxury feel to it. I ended up with the Lincoln Navigator.
Nice. Not bad.
And it's an older one, which is great because I really only need it for 3 years. And so it was interesting to realize that if I had gone into panic mode about it, then it would have just been this terrible event and stuff. But I was actually able to be at peace about it. Had a lot of questions, and I knew I had a lot of problems, situations to solve. And, I needed other things to show up for me. And 2 friends came from my hometown and helped out the whole day. One was a mechanic and one was my best friend. And we just made it all work.
Nice.
And here's what I'm seeing is that events happen in our lives and people show up in our lives, the ones that we can't stand, or events that happen that we're wondering why they're happening to us,
that
right?
we can't stand.
They're happening because there's a learning lesson for you that if you
Yes.
don't learn it, they're going to keep showing up over and over again. And it sounds like you took an opportunity and you turned it into a breakthrough. And we'll talk about that when we
positive
come
experience.
back.
Absolutely. So stay tuned for more. We're talking to Sharon Rodriguez, who's a mom of 4. You're listening to Life Leadership with Alex Urbina, right here on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS.
Something new.